Okay, hello. Welcome to the Foundations of Business Unit 3 Unbound Reports presentation lecture. Unbound Reports is another formal business document that we will learn how to format. Unbound Reports is probably the business document that will most closely relate to what you might be creating as a high school student. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the purpose of these lessons are to learn how to format the features of Unbound Reports as well as process a one-page Unbound report in the proper format. What we need to understand is that Unbound Reports are short reports and they're often prepared without covers or binders, which is the majority of how some of your papers that you might be writing for class are turned in. Pages are usually fastened together in the upper left-hand corner by a staple or a paper clip. Now, standard margins for the formatting of Unbound Reports are as follows. So the first page will have a 1-inch top margin, as will the second and following pages. The top margin on the first page is 2 inches, where it's only 1 inch on the second and following pages. The first page will have approximately a 1-inch bottom margin, as will the second and following pages. And then when it comes to page numbers on the first page are optional, and if they are used, they are on the bottom center. For all second and following pages, they're going to be in the upper right-hand corner. We'll walk through exactly how to format this as we develop these reports. Now, when it comes to internal spacing of the report, proper formatting is 1.15, which is the default spacing. Let me restate that. All parts of the report are single-spaced, but it is using a default spacing as 1.15. So it's not exactly single space, but it's not 1.5 or double. It's kind of in between. So make sure that you set your spacing to 1.15 before you begin typing your reports. Page numbers, as indicated, the first page of an Unbound report may or may not include a page number. More often than not, it does not. Reports keyed for this unit will not include a page number on the first page, and then on all following pages, it will be in the upper right-hand corner. So once you get to the second page and any pages that follow, we would insert page numbers at the upper right-hand corner. What is key to remember here is that if we put a page number starting on page 2, it cannot start with page number 1. That page number on page number 2 must be a 2 to indicate it's the second page of the report. Even though the first page does not have a number on it, we still have to consider it the first page of the report. Now, there are ways to insert page numbers on your document. Word is great for having the option to be able to do this in one and easy swoop with the formatting options that are included in Microsoft Word. Utilize this tutorial to kind of help you through it. We have a later version of Word on our computers in the lab than what is indicated here, so it is slightly different. If you are having issues or having difficulties getting the page numbers inserted into your document, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you get that on there. All right, when it comes to titles and heading, the title of the report is formatted using title style. So I will show you as well how to access the different styles. Side headings are keyed at the left margin and formatting using heading style 1. And you are to capitalize the first letters of all words except prepositions and titles on the different headings. All right, so here we go. We take a look at the different style. The default title style is a 26-point Cambria font. It is dark blue text 2 with a bottom border. So there is an indication of what it would look like once it is selected, and then you would type in your proper title for this report. Now, any subsequent headings are going to be default heading number 1 style, which is 14-point Cambria font blue accent 1, as indicated in the illustration. So the title style as well as heading styles, even though they are similar, they are not the same and they are different, so that the reader can determine the difference between the two. All right, then we will move on to processing 2-page Unbound reports in proper format to make sure that we have proper textual citations. So this is going to be impactful on you when it comes to writing research papers. Citations as well as references are key on those types of reports, and we'll look at different ways to format those, as well as the process of references. Okay, so textual citations, these are references that are used to give credit or paraphrase to quoted material. They're called textual citations because they are keyed in parentheses in the body of the report. You may have used these in some of your previous research papers and possibly learned how to do this in any of your English and language arts classes. So textual citations will include the name or names of the authors, the year of publication, and the page numbers of the material cited. Note also for electronic, internet references, textual citations must include the name or names of the authors and the year of the publication. What cannot be used for any type of internet source that is being cited is it cannot just be a link to a particular website. There needs to be more information in there to make the citation credible. Now, when there are two articles by the same author, the title of the article will also be included as well as shown on the next slide. So here is an example. Here is a textual citation. Notice that the indication of the very first part of text is what was written by the writer of the report. So Sam Clemens was recognized for his fiction as well as for his humor. It has been said that next to sunshine and fresh air, Mark Twain's humor has done more for the welfare of mankind than any other agency. And then here, this is the textual citation right here. So it indicates where that came from, the author, the title of the document, and the year that it was published. And once again, it was referenced later on in the text down below at the bottom of the paragraph. So that's a proper way to textually cite a source within a particular report. Remember, when we have citations from the same article, just a reminder that the title of the article must be included. The reason is there might be citations that are being done by the same author with different sources, so make sure that the proper title of the document or the title of the source is cited correctly. All right, quotations. Quotations of up to 3 keyed lines are also used. So let's take a look at Nathan Hale. Words show an individual's commitment. Who can question Nathan Hale's commitment when he said, indicated in quotes, indicating this is a direct quote of Nathan Hale. This is not the opinion or the quote of the author of the report. So this individual is getting credit for what was said. There's also long quotations. So in this case, here we have Susan B. Anthony, words bring about change. This was the quote that she had. So this is paraphrased material, so it is not enclosed in quotation marks, nor is it indented. But what we have to remember is, regardless of if it's a direct quote or if it's paraphrased, the individual who said it must get credit for saying it, and that's the purpose of the textual citation. Now there's also an ellipsis. Okay, this is used to indicate material omitted from a quotation. So this is a direct quote down here in the bottom. However, the ellipsis or these dots indicate that there is other material that was said in between the word year and the next word the, but that is not going to be included in the report. So in order to properly cite that material, we use what's called an ellipsis. And then here is the citation here in parentheses, Prince and Jackson, 1997, page 35. Reference lists. Reference lists are always listed alphabetical by the author's last name, and they are usually titled either bibliography or works cited. References section is formatted with the same margins as the first page of the report. Here is an example of what it would look like. So here is the title. Notice how it has the proper heading. This is the title heading, and then here are the sources that were cited in the report. They are formatted and they are organized in alphabetical order by author's last name. Now, the nice thing that we have is we also have a cite generator, which is on our reference page, which will help us with this so that we can properly create citations if needed. But most often than not, the reports that you're going to be creating, the citations are already there. So you just have to include them in the reference or works cited list. But for papers that you are doing in school for ELA or any other type of research paper, use those lists or use that resource on the student resource page to help generate those sources for you. And then also notice that the reference list is not part of the actual report information that's communicated, but we are still going to include it in our page numbering system. References is keyed 2 inches from the top margin in title style, just like we did for page 1. As well as the left-hand margin being the default is 1 inch. Shouldn't have to change that, but you might want to double check to make sure your margin settings are correct. As long as it's at 1 inch, you're good to go. And then we would indent in if the resource or the reference is carried over to the second line to help separate the different references from each other. And then finally, let's take a look at processing poems. You might have to write these for English class as well, and maybe you have already done so. So this will be quickly. So to process a poem as well as process a 2-page Unbound report and reference page in proper format. Processing 2-page reports and then process referencing pages. A lot of these are going to be exactly the same as what we talked about in 1-page reports. So this is what we take here. Here we have a report starting. Notice how we have the title, 2-page Unbound report, and then indicated we have the proper margin, the proper spacing. And in some cases, we might be adjusting some of them. So make sure that you have the side headings. If included, they stand out to indicate that the sections have changed. Textual citations entered in the report as needed. Notice how they are written here. We would use these just like we did when we talked about them previously. Notice how the references are slightly different. This will be indicated in the different documents that you are going to be required to print, to type and to print and to turn in. So as long as you just have the proper format and then you would type it properly, you are going to be all set. Page numbers are also included on the last page of the textual document and the reference page. Notice how the reference page, also another thing I'd like to note is that the reference page always becomes its own page. So references should not come at the bottom of a text on the same page. Once the report has ended, then you must need to enter down to the next page to type the reference page. In Word in 2019, the reference title is bolded, centered, and keyed in all caps, 14.2 inches from the top margin. If you have questions when you are creating these documents, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you so you format them correctly. Notice a hanging indent as well for references, as we indicated before, to separate them from each other. And that concludes the presentation lecture on different Unbound report formatting. Please make sure to reference this as many times as needed to properly format your reports before turning them in. And if you are having problems using Word features to be able to put this formatting into play, please feel free to ask me at any time and I will be happy to help you get these formatted correctly. I will see you next time we meet in class.